In the quiet depths of the Pokémon world, where mysteries drift like morning mist through ancient forests, there exist secrets so obscure that they have remained hidden from all but the most dedicated researchers and explorers. Tonight, we embark on a gentle journey through these forgotten corners of knowledge, where the strangest truths about beloved creatures wait patiently to be discovered. Let us begin with a creature whose very existence challenges our understanding of the natural order. Discovered. Let us begin with a creature whose very existence challenges our understanding of the natural order. Ditto, that pink, amorphous being capable of transforming into any Pokemon it encounters, carries within its cellular structure a profound mystery. Deep within the codon of the original games, Ditto shares an identical base, a stat total, with Mew, that legendary psychic feline. More intriguing still, both creatures weigh exactly the same amount and can learn the move Transform naturally. This has led some scholars to theorize that Ditto may be the result of failed experiments attempting to clone the mythical Mew, their malleable forms perhaps representing an incomplete understanding of Mew's perfect genetic structure. Moving through the shadows of scientific discovery, we encounter another peculiar truth about Cubone, the lonely ground-type Pokémon forever wearing the skull of its deceased mother. In the earliest conceptual stages of Pokémon development, Cubone was intended to be the pre-evolved form of Kangaskhan. The skull it wears was meant to be that of its mother, a Kangaskhan who had died, leaving her young to fend for itself. This connection explains the remarkable similarity in their bone structure and coloring, though this evolutionary link was eventually severed in the final games, leaving only subtle hints of their intended relationship scattered throughout the Pokédex entries. The mysterious Unown, those hieroglyphic Pokémon that exist in 28 different forms corresponding to letters and punctuation marks, harbor secrets that extend far beyond their alphabet-like appearances. In the ancient ruins where they dwell, these creatures exist in a state of dimensional flux, their collective consciousness capable of altering reality itself when gathered in sufficient numbers. Each individual Unown possesses minimal power, yet when they unite, they can manifest the deepest desires and fears of nearby minds into physical reality. Their strange, flat bodies are not merely decorative, but serve as living symbols that bridge the gap between thought and manifestation, making them perhaps the most metaphysically significant Pokémon in existence. Beneath the cheerful exterior of Parasect lies one of nature's most unsettling truths. This grass and bug-type Pokémon represents a complete parasitic takeover, where the original Paras has been entirely consumed and controlled by the massive mushroom growing from its back. The mushroom, known as Tochukaso in Japanese folklore, has completely replaced the Pokemon's brain and nervous system. What appears to be Parasect is actually a mushroom piloting a hollow shell, using the remnants of its host's body to move about and spread its spores. The blank, white eyes of Parasect serve as a haunting reminder that the original creature no longer exists within that familiar form. In the depths of the ocean, Relicanth swims through waters unchanged for millions of years, its ancient form a living fossil that has witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. This rock and water-type Pokémon possesses the remarkable ability to detect underwater caves and ruins using electroreception similar to sharks in our own world. Its body, covered in rock-hard scales, can withstand the crushing pressure of the deepest ocean trenches, making it one of the few Pokémon capable of exploring the most remote underwater locations. Researchers have discovered that Relicanth populations serve as living libraries, their migration patterns following ancient underwater ley lines that connect sacred sites across the ocean floor. The ghostly Yamask carries with it a mask that bears the face it wore in human life, for this spirit-type Pokémon is the lingering soul of a person who has passed away. Each Yamask remembers fragments of its human existence, and when it looks upon its golden mask, it sometimes weeps tears of ectoplasm as memories of its former life surface. These masks are not merely decorative, but serve as anchors to the physical world, preventing the spirit from moving on to whatever lies beyond. In ancient Egyptian mythology that inspired this Pokemon, similar masks were believed to preserve the identity of the deceased in the afterlife, making Yamask a bridge between the world of the living and the realm of the departed. Deep within the cellular structure of Magcargo lies a temperature so extreme that it defies conventional physics. This fire and rock type Pokemon maintains a core body temperature of 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significantly hotter than the surface of the sun. At such temperatures, any moisture in the surrounding air should instantly vaporize, and nearby organic matter should burst into flames simply from proximity. Yet Magcargo moves through the world without causing widespread destruction, suggesting that it possesses some form of supernatural heat containment that allows it to exist alongside other life forms without reducing everything around it to ash and vapor. The psychic energies that flow through Alakazam's highly developed brain operate at frequencies that can bend the very fabric of space and time. This Pokemon's intelligence quotient exceeds 5,000, granting it to computational abilities that surpass the most advanced supercomputers. Its twin spoons serve not as eating utensils, but as psychic amplifiers, each one crafted from a mysterious metal that resonates with mental energy. When Alakazam focuses its considerable intellect, it can peer into alternate dimensions and observe potential futures, though the strain of processing such vast amounts of information causes its muscles to atrophy, leaving it physically weak despite its incredible mental prowess. In the frozen tundras where Jynx dwells, this ice and psychic type Pokemon communicates through a complex language of gestures and sounds that closely resembles human speech and dance. Its distinctive appearance, with flowing blonde hair and red lips, reflects an ancient connection to winter goddesses and ice spirits found in Nordic mythology. Jynx possesses the ability to induce a trance-like state in other creatures through its hypnotic movements, causing them to dance uncontrollably until they collapse from exhaustion. This behavior mirrors the folklore of dancing plagues that swept through medieval Europe, where entire communities would dance themselves to death under mysterious compulsions. The electrical organs within Lanturn's body generate enough power to illuminate the deepest ocean trenches, creating a beacon of light in the crushing darkness of the abyssal depths. This water and electric type Pokemon serves as a living lighthouse for lost ships and submarines. Its bioluminescent antenna, capable of producing light, visible from over 3 miles away underwater. The electricity it generates operates on a unique frequency that can interfere with electronic navigation equipment, sometimes causing vessels to become disoriented and follow Lanturn's light into dangerous underwater caverns where they become permanently lost. Slowking's remarkable intelligence emerges not from its own mental capacity, but from the shelter that has attached itself to its head. This symbiotic relationship creates a collective consciousness where the shelter's instinctive knowledge combines with Slowpoke's latent psychic abilities to produce wisdom that rivals the greatest philosophers. The crown-like shelter injects Slowking with a constant stream of neurotransmitters that enhance cognitive function while simultaneously feeding on the psychic energy generated by deep thought. This partnership represents one of the most successful examples of interspecies cooperation in the natural world, where two relatively simple creatures combine to create something far greater than the sum of their parts. The crystalline structures that form Forretress's metallic shell contain trace amounts of rare earth elements that make it nearly impervious to both physical and special attacks. This bug and steel-type Pokémon constructs its fortress-like exterior by secreting a special enzyme that hardens tree bark into steel-like plates, creating a defensive barrier so effective that even dynamite cannot breach it. Within its protective shell, Forretress maintains a complex network of pressure-sensitive chambers that can detect the slightest vibration in the surrounding environment, allowing it to anticipate attacks and respond with explosive force. Spikes that protrude from its surface are not merely defensive weapons, but sophisticated sensory organs that can analyze the chemical composition of approaching threats and adjust the explosive payload accordingly. Deep within the volcanic chambers where Magcargo dwells, temperatures reach 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt solid rock into liquid magma within seconds. This fire and rock-type Pokemon's body temperature exceeds that of the sun's surface, yet it maintains perfect control over this incredible heat through an internal cooling system that operates on principles unknown to modern science. The molten rock that comprises Magcargo's shell constantly regenerates itself through a process of controlled nuclear fusion, creating new mineral compounds that have never been observed in nature. Scientists theorize that Magcargo's body may contain a miniature star, explaining how it maintains such extreme temperatures without consuming any external fuel source. The delicate wings of Skarmory appear to be made of metal, yet they possess a flexibility that allows for incredibly precise aerial maneuvers despite weighing over 100 pounds. Each feather on these steel and flying type Pokemon has been tempered through exposure to extreme temperatures and pressure, creating a material stronger than titanium yet lighter than aluminum. Skarmory sheds its metallic feathers annually, and these discarded plumes are highly prized by blacksmiths for forging weapons of exceptional quality. The aerodynamic properties of Skarmory's wings create a unique sound frequency when it flies, a haunting metallic whistle that can be heard from miles away and serves as a territorial warning to other Pokemon. Within Houndoom's throat lies a specialized organ that produces flames infused with toxins so potent that burns from its fire never fully heal, leaving permanent scars that ache during changes in weather. This dark and fire-type Pokemon's howl carries across vast distances on currents of superheated air, creating an eerie echo that instills primal fear in both Pokemon and humans alike. The bone like protrusions on Houndoom's skull are actually hollow chambers that amplify its voice and store concentrated fire energy for extended battles. Ancient texts describe Houndoom as guardians of the underworld, and their pack behavior suggests a complex social hierarchy based on the intensity of flames each individual can produce. Kingdra's ability to create massive whirlpools stems from specialized organs in its snout that can manipulate water pressure with surgical precision. This water and dragon type Pokemon inhabits the deepest ocean trenches where the pressure would crush most living creatures, yet it moves through these depths with the grace of a dancer. The spiral pattern on Kingdra's body serves as a natural current amplifier, allowing it to generate tornadoes of water that can reach the ocean surface from depths of several miles. When Kingdra yawns, it creates a brief but powerful suction that can pull small fish directly into its mouth from distances of over 50 feet. The seemingly innocent appearance of Blissey conceals one of the most remarkable healing abilities in the natural world, as its eggs contain proteins that can regenerate damaged tissue at the cellular level. This normal type Pokemon's nurturing instincts are so powerful that it experiences physical pain when witnessing the suffering of others, compelling it to provide aid regardless of the personal cost. The curly hair on Blissey's head contains microscopic sensors that can detect illness and injury from great distances, allowing it to locate those in need of healing across vast territories. Each egg that Blissey produces requires tremendous energy to create, equivalent to the caloric content of several full meals, yet it will sacrifice its own nutrition to help others without hesitation. Raikou's mane crackles with electrical energy that builds up as it runs, creating lightning bolts that can strike targets over 10 miles away with pinpoint accuracy. This electric-type legendary Pokemon moves so quickly that it appears to teleport, leaving behind only the rumble of thunder and the scent of ozone in the air. The cloud formations that follow Raikou are not natural weather patterns, but electromagnetic disturbances created by its powerful electrical field, which can interfere with radio communications across entire continents. Ancient weather records suggest that Raikou's movements correspond with the formation of severe thunderstorms, indicating that this Pokemon may play a crucial role in maintaining the planet's electrical balance. The aurora-like flames that dance across Entei's mane are composed of a unique form of plasma that burns at temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Celsius. This fire-type legendary Pokemon's roar can trigger volcanic eruptions by resonating with magma chambers deep beneath the Earth's surface, demonstrating a connection to geological forces that scientists are only beginning to understand. Each step that Entei takes generates enough kinetic energy to power a small city, and the heat radiating from its body can melt snow within a radius of several miles. Seismic monitoring stations have detected Entei's distinctive footprint pattern in earthquake data, suggesting that its movements may influence tectonic activity across multiple continents. Suicune possesses the extraordinary ability to purify contaminated water simply by walking across its surface, transforming polluted lakes and rivers into crystal clear springs within minutes. This water-type legendary Pokemon's flowing mane contains billions of microscopic organisms that break down toxins and neutralize harmful bacteria through an unknown biological process. The ribbon-like appendages that trail behind Suicune as it runs are actually sensory organs that can detect water quality from hundreds of miles away, allowing it to locate areas in need of purification. Environmental scientists have noted that regions visited by Suicune show dramatically improved water quality for decades after its passage, suggesting that its purification effects are both profound and long lasting. The massive jaws of Tyranitar can crush almost any substance on Earth, generating bite forces that exceed those of the largest prehistoric predators by several orders of magnitude. This rock and dark type Pokemon's body is composed of compressed sedimentary layers that have been fused together through intense pressure and heat, creating armor that becomes stronger with each battle. When Tyranitar becomes enraged, it can alter the surrounding landscape by generating localized earthquakes through rhythmic stomping, reshaping mountains and valleys according to its will. The dust clouds that Tyranitar kicks up while moving contain microscopic rock particles that can damage electronic equipment and interfere with satellite communications. The crystalline formations that naturally occur wherever Tyranitar has rested contain trace amounts of rare earth minerals that scientists have been unable to replicate in laboratory conditions. These geological anomalies suggest that Tyranitar's presence fundamentally alters the molecular structure of surrounding rock formations, creating new mineral compositions that persist long after the Pokémon has departed. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, Lugia creates underwater caverns through the precise manipulation of water currents, carving elaborate tunnel systems that serve as sanctuaries for marine Pokémon during severe storms. The psychic and flying type legendary Pokemon's wings generate aerodynamic forces so powerful that a single flap can create typhoons capable of lasting for weeks, yet Lugia demonstrates remarkable restraint in controlling these abilities to prevent widespread destruction. The silver feathers that occasionally fall from Lugia's wings possess unique properties that allow them to conduct psychic energy, making them invaluable components in the construction of specialized research equipment used to study telepathic phenomena. Marine biologists have discovered that whales and dolphins exhibit unusual migration patterns in areas where Lugia has been sighted, suggesting that this legendary Pokémon communicates with sea creatures through subsonic frequencies that travel across entire ocean basins. The pressure waves generated by Lugia's movement through water create temporary thermoclines that can affect ocean temperatures at depths exceeding 10,000 meters. Ho-Oh's sacred flames burn with such purity that they can restore life to beings that have been deceased for centuries, though this miraculous ability comes with strict cosmic limitations that prevent its casual use. The rainbow-colored plumage of this fire and flying-type legendary Pokémon contains microscopic prisms that refract light in ways that defy conventional physics, creating optical illusions that can be perceived from space. Each feather that Ho-Oh sheds retains a fragment of its life-giving power, and these feathers have been known to spontaneously combust when exposed to intense emotions, creating brief but brilliant displays of multicolored flame. The ashes left behind by Ho-Oh's flames possess remarkable properties, capable of accelerating plant growth and healing soil that has been damaged by pollution or natural disasters. Archaeological evidence suggests that ancient civilizations built their most sacred temples along Ho-Oh's flight paths, recognizing the profound spiritual significance of this legendary Pokemon's presence. The thermal updrafts created by Ho-Oh's passage can lift clouds to unprecedented altitudes, occasionally creating weather patterns that persist for months after the Pokemon has moved on to other regions. Celebi's time-traveling abilities operate through the manipulation of temporal fields that exist in the spaces between seconds, allowing this psychic and grass-type mythical Pokemon to slip through the cracks in time's fabric without creating paradoxes. The small forests that appear wherever Celebi materializes are not merely transported from other time periods, but are actually composite ecosystems assembled from the healthiest moments in a forest's entire timeline. When Celebi travels through time, it leaves behind temporal residue that can be detected by sensitive instruments for years afterward, creating chronological landmarks that researchers use to map the flow of time itself. The onion-shaped structure on Celebi's head functions as a temporal antenna, allowing it to perceive the past and future simultaneously while maintaining awareness of all possible timeline variations. Forest rangers have reported that areas visited by Celebi show accelerated seasonal changes, with trees cycling through their annual growth patterns in a matter of days before returning to normal temporal flow. The healing properties of plants touched by Celebi are enhanced far beyond their natural capabilities, with some specimens retaining these amplified medicinal effects for decades after the encounter. Trico's toe pads contain millions of microscopic hooks that can grip surfaces at the molecular level, allowing this grass-type Pokemon to climb perfectly smooth walls and even hang upside down from glass ceilings without any visible effort. The small seeds stored in Trico's tail can remain dormant for years until exposed to specific environmental conditions, at which point they rapidly germinate into plants that are perfectly adapted to their surroundings. When multiple Trico gather in the same tree, they create complex communication networks through subtle vibrations transmitted through branches, sharing information about weather patterns, predator movements, and food sources across vast forest areas. The leaves that Trico chews contain natural compounds that enhance its reflexes and climbing abilities, functioning as a form of biological performance enhancement that becomes more effective with age and experience. Torchic generates internal temperatures approaching 800 degrees Celsius when excited or threatened, yet its fluffy exterior feathers provide such effective insulation that it can be safely handled without risk of burns. This fire-type Pokemon's body contains specialized organs that convert consumed berries into highly flammable oils, which are then stored in internal chambers and released through controlled combustion. The downy feathers that Torchic sheds naturally ignite when exposed to friction, creating tiny flames that can be used to start campfires or provide warmth during cold weather. Poultry scientists studying Torchic have discovered that its eggshells contain trace amounts of sulfur compounds that help regulate the internal temperature during incubation, ensuring optimal development conditions regardless of external weather. Mudkip's fin-like tail functions as both a propulsion system and a highly sensitive seismograph, capable of detecting underground water sources and predicting earthquakes hours before they occur. The gills behind Mudkip's cheeks can extract oxygen from both water and mud with equal efficiency, allowing this water-type Pokémon to survive in environments that would be impossible for most aquatic creatures. When Mudkip sleeps buried in riverbank mud, its body secretes a protective mucus that prevents dehydration while simultaneously filtering toxins from the surrounding sediment. The unique properties of this mucus have attracted the attention of medical researchers who believe it may hold the keys to developing new treatments for respiratory ailments. Coastal communities have learned to watch for mudkip behavior patterns as an early warning system for tsunamis, as these Pokémon invariably retreat to higher ground hours before dangerous waves arrive. The webbed feet of mudkip contain pressure-sensitive cells that can detect minute changes in water flow, allowing them to navigate through murky swamps and underground streams with remarkable precision. Poochyana's pack hunting strategies involve complex psychological manipulation of prey species, using coordinated howling patterns to create confusion and panic that makes their targets easier to capture. This dark type Pokemon's night vision is so acute that it can distinguish between different shades of black in complete darkness, giving it an overwhelming advantage during nocturnal hunts. The scent glands located near Poochyana's tail produce dozens of different chemical markers that convey detailed information about the Pokemon's emotional state, health condition, and recent activities to other pack members. These olfactory communications are so sophisticated that experienced Poochyana can determine the exact location of hidden food caches or identify individual humans from scent traces that are weeks old. When Poochyana pups are born, they inherit not only their parents' physical characteristics, but also their accumulated knowledge of local hunting grounds through genetic memory patterns that scientists are still attempting to understand. The territorial markings left by Poochyana packs contain pheromones that remain active for months, creating invisible boundaries that other Pokémon instinctively avoid crossing. Zigzagoon's seemingly erratic movement pattern follows mathematical principles related to chaos theory, creating unpredictable paths that maximize the Pokemon's chances of discovering hidden items while minimizing energy expenditure. This normal type Pokemon's cheek pouches can expand to hold objects many times larger than its own head, utilizing spatial compression techniques that appear to violate the laws of physics. The zigzag fur pattern on Zigzagoon's back serves as a form of natural camouflage that disrupts predator vision by creating optical illusions that make the Pokémon appear to be in multiple locations simultaneously. Urban Zigzagoon have developed enhanced problem-solving abilities compared to their rural counterparts, learning to navigate complex city environments and even manipulate simple mechanical devices to access food sources. The hoarding instinct displayed by Zigzagoon is driven by an internal biological clock that can predict seasonal changes months in advance, prompting the Pokémon to collect specific types of items based on anticipated future needs. Research has shown that Zigzagoon can distinguish between hundreds of different berry varieties by scent alone, and they preferentially collect those with the highest nutritional value or longest shelf life. The evolutionary process that transforms Zigzagoon into Unown involves a complete rewiring of the Pokémon's neural pathways, fundamentally altering its movement patterns from chaotic zigzags to perfectly straight lines that can be maintained for incredible distances without deviation. This transformation is triggered by exposure to specific electromagnetic frequencies that naturally occur in certain geographic locations, explaining why Linune populations are concentrated in particular regions. The fur of Linune contains microscopic barbs that reduce air resistance during high speed movement, allowing these Pokémon to reach velocities that approach the theoretical limits of terrestrial locomotion. When running at maximum speed, Linune enters a trance like state where conscious thought ceases and pure instinct takes control, enabling the Pokémon to navigate obstacles and terrain changes without slowing down. The straight line running behavior of Linune serves multiple purposes beyond simple transportation, as these extended sprints help regulate the Pokemon's internal temperature, promote cardiovascular health, and trigger the release of endorphins that maintain psychological well-being. Whirlpool's metamorphosis into either Silcoon or Cascoon is determined by complex interactions between the Pokemon's genetic code and environmental factors that include temperature fluctuations, humidity levels, barometric pressure, and the specific mineral content of the soil where pupation occurs. The silk produced by Whirlpool contains proteins that have remarkable self-healing properties, allowing damaged threads to automatically repair themselves when exposed to moisture in the air. This bug-type Pokemon's spikes are not merely defensive weapons, but also serve as sophisticated sensory organs that can detect minute vibrations in tree branches, alerting Whirlpool to the presence of predators or potential mates from considerable distances. The digestive system of Whirlpool is so efficient that it can extract nutrients from leaves that other Pokémon consider inedible, including those containing natural toxins that would be harmful to most species. During the molting process, Whirlpool sheds not only its outer skin, but also portions of its nervous system, regenerating neural pathways that enhance its sensory capabilities with each successive molt. The cocoon stage of Silcoon involves a complete dissolution of the Pokemon's internal structure, followed by a carefully orchestrated reconstruction process that follows genetic blueprints encoded in specialized cells called imaginal discs. Temperature regulation within the Silcoon cocoon is maintained through a network of microscopic air channels that create convection currents, ensuring optimal conditions for the metamorphosis, regardless of external weather conditions. The silk threads that form Silcoon's protective casing are actually hollow tubes that serve as conduits for nutrients and waste products, creating a closed-loop system that sustains the Pokémon throughout its transformation. Research has revealed that Silcoon can remain conscious during portions of its metamorphosis, experiencing dreams that may influence the coloration and wing patterns of its eventual beautifully form. The hardening process of Silcoon's cocoon involves the incorporation of minerals absorbed from rainwater, creating a protective shell that becomes increasingly resistant to physical damage as the metamorphosis progresses. Cascoon's evolutionary pathway differs from Silcoon primarily in the biochemical composition of its cocoon material, which contains higher concentrations of defensive compounds that deter parasitic insects and fungal infections. The internal restructuring that occurs within Cascoon follows a different timeline than Silcoon, with certain organ systems developing at accelerated rates, while others remain dormant, until specific hormonal triggers are activated. The coloration of Cascoon's cocoon can shift subtly in response to changes in the surrounding environment, providing additional camouflage that helps protect the vulnerable Pokemon during its transformation period. Studies have shown that Cascoon can selectively absorb certain wavelengths of sunlight through its cocoon walls, using photosynthetic processes to supplement the energy reserves needed for metamorphosis. The emergence of Dustox from its Cascoon cocoon is timed to coincide with specific lunar phases, as the Pokemon's internal biological clock responds to gravitational influences that affect the development of its wing scales. Beautifully's wing scales contain microscopic prisms that create the Pokemon's brilliant colors through light refraction rather than pigmentation, allowing for color displays that can shift dramatically depending on viewing angle and lighting conditions. The proboscis of Beautifully extends to nearly 3 times the length of its body when fully unfurled and contains taste receptors so sensitive that the Pokemon can identify individual flower species from trace amounts of nectar residue. During flight, Beautifully generates ultrasonic frequencies through rapid wing beats that serve as a form of echolocation, helping the Pokemon navigate through dense forest canopies and locate flowers in low light conditions. The pollen that collects on Beautifly's body hair is not merely incidental, but is actively cultivated by the Pokemon as a protein rich food source that supplements its nectar based diet. Mating displays performed by Beautifully involve complex aerial choreography that can last for hours, with pairs of Pokemon executing synchronized flight patterns that demonstrate their physical fitness and genetic compatibility. Dustox's nocturnal lifestyle has led to the evolution of specialized wing scales that absorb sound waves, allowing these Pokemon to fly in complete silence while hunting or evading predators. The dust released by Dustox contains microscopic particles that serve multiple functions, including marking territory, communicating with other Dustox, and creating defensive clouds that confuse attacking Pokemon. Light sources attract Dustox, not because of any inherent fascination with illumination, but because their navigation system relies on celestial reference points, and artificial lights can disrupt their internal compass mechanisms. The antennae of Dustox are covered with thousands of chemoreceptors that can detect pheromones from potential mates across distances of several miles, even when atmospheric conditions would seem to make such long-range chemical communication impossible. During the day, Dustox enter a state of suspended animation that dramatically slows their metabolic processes, allowing them to survive on minimal food reserves while remaining alert to potential threats. Lotad's lily pad-like appearance is not merely mimicry, but represents a form of symbiotic evolution where the Pokemon has developed genuine photosynthetic capabilities that supplement its dietary needs. The broadleaf on Lotad's head contains specialized cells that can process carbon dioxide and sunlight into usable energy, making this water grass type one of the few Pokemon that can survive for extended periods without consuming food. Water quality has a direct impact on Lotad's health and development, as these Pokemon can absorb nutrients and minerals directly through their skin, making them living indicators of aquatic ecosystem health. The root-like structures that extend from Lotad's body can penetrate deep into pond sediment, anchoring the Pokemon against strong currents while simultaneously extracting nutrients from decomposing organic matter. Seasonal changes trigger dramatic physiological adaptations in Lotad, including the ability to slow their heart rate and enter semi-dormant states during winter months when sunlight becomes scarce. Lombre's evolution represents a fascinating transition between aquatic and terrestrial adaptation, as these Pokemon develop the ability to regulate their internal water pressure, allowing them to venture onto land for extended periods without experiencing the dehydration that affects purely aquatic species. The distinctive kappa-like appearance of Lombre is rooted in ancient folklore connections, but the biological reality reveals that their bowl-shaped head depression serves as a sophisticated water collection and filtration system that can purify contaminated water sources through specialized enzyme secretions. Musical abilities in Lombre are not learned behaviors, but are instead hardwired into their neural pathways, with different populations developing region-specific rhythmic patterns that serve as both territorial markers and mating calls that can carry across vast wetland areas. The lily pad that crowns Lombre's head undergoes continuous regeneration throughout the Pokemon's lifetime, with older sections naturally composting to provide nutrients for new growth in a perfect example of biological recycling that maintains the Pokemon's photosynthetic capabilities. Ludicolo's perpetual dancing is driven by an overactive nervous system that requires constant movement to maintain proper neurological function, making stillness physically uncomfortable for these vibrant Pokemon. The festive appearance of Ludicolo serves multiple biological purposes beyond mere aesthetics, as their bright coloration acts as a warning display to potential predators while simultaneously serving as a complex visual communication system that conveys information about health, emotional state, and reproductive readiness to other Ludicolo. Rhythmic movements performed by Ludicolo create subsonic vibrations that travel through water and earth, allowing these Pokemon to communicate with others of their kind across considerable distances, even when direct visual or auditory contact is impossible. The pineapple-like structure atop Ludicolo's head contains a sophisticated network of air chambers that provide buoyancy control in water, while also serving as resonance chambers that amplify their musical calls. Cedo's acorn-like shell is composed of multiple layers of specialized tissue that provide protection against environmental hazards while also serving as a sophisticated moisture regulation system that prevents both dehydration and waterlogging. The stem that connects Cedo to tree branches during their dormant periods is not merely an attachment point, but functions as a sophisticated nutrient transfer system that allows the Pokemon to draw sustenance directly from their host tree while providing beneficial compounds in return. Camouflage abilities in Cedo extend beyond simple visual mimicry, as these Pokemon can alter their surface texture and even their scent profile to match the specific tree species they inhabit, making detection by predators virtually impossible. Photosynthetic processes in Seedot operate at efficiency levels that surpass those of actual plants, allowing these Pokemon to convert sunlight into usable energy with minimal waste while producing oxygen as a beneficial byproduct that enhances the health of their forest habitats. Nuzleaf's leaf-like appendages are not decorative features, but serve as highly sensitive atmospheric pressure detectors that allow these Pokemon to predict weather changes with remarkable accuracy, often beginning to seek shelter hours before storms arrive. The mischievous behavior exhibited by Nuzleaf is actually a sophisticated form of environmental manipulation, as their pranks and tricks serve to test and strengthen the problem solving abilities of other forest dwelling Pokemon, while also establishing complex social hierarchies within their communities. Musical abilities in Nuzleaf involve the production of haunting melodies through specialized vocal structures that can induce various psychological states in listeners, from deep relaxation to heightened alertness, depending on the specific tonal patterns employed. Shiftry's fan like hands are remarkable examples of biological engineering, containing hundreds of microscopic air channels that allow for precise control of wind currents and air pressure in their immediate vicinity. The mysterious disappearances associated with Shiftry encounters are not supernatural phenomena, but result from the Pokemon's ability to create localized atmospheric disturbances that can disorient and confuse other creatures, causing them to lose their way in familiar territory. Ancient Shiftry populations developed sophisticated weather prediction abilities that made them valuable allies to early human settlements, though this relationship gradually deteriorated as urbanization reduced the need for such natural meteorological services. Tylo's incredible stamina during migration flights is supported by a unique cardiovascular system that includes auxiliary heart chambers that activate during periods of intense physical exertion, effectively doubling their blood circulation capacity when needed. The seemingly simple chirping sounds produced by Talo actually constitute a complex language system with over 200 distinct vocalizations, each conveying specific information about food sources, weather conditions, predator locations, and social dynamics within their flocks. Territorial behaviors in Talo are mediated by sophisticated pheromone marking systems that create invisible boundaries in the air, with different chemical signatures indicating not only ownership, but also the current emotional state and health status of the territory holder. Swellow's incredible aerial maneuverability results from specialized flight muscles that can contract at frequencies approaching those found in hummingbirds, despite the significantly larger body mass of these impressive Pokemon. The distinctive tail streamers of Swellow serve multiple aerodynamic functions, acting as both stabilizers during high-speed flight and as airflow sensors that provide constant feedback about wind conditions and potential turbulence. Diving attacks performed by Swellow involve precise calculations of trajectory, wind resistance, and target movement that require computational abilities rivaling those of advanced artificial intelligence systems, all processed instinctively in fractions of a second. Social structures within Swellow flocks are maintained through complex and aerial displays that convey hierarchical information without the need for aggressive confrontations, with leadership roles often determined by flight skill demonstrations rather than physical combat. Wingle's association with maritime environments has led to the evolution of specialized salt glands that allow these Pokemon to drink seawater safely, extracting fresh water while efficiently eliminating excess sodium through specialized excretory processes. The seemingly random flight patterns of Wingle are actually sophisticated search algorithms that maximize the probability of locating food sources while minimizing energy expenditure, with each individual bird following mathematical principles that optimize their foraging efficiency. Polyper's massive bill serves as more than just a fishing tool, functioning as a sophisticated sensory organ that can detect minute changes in water temperature, salinity, and chemical composition that indicate the presence of fish schools or other prey species. The internal structure of Pelipper's bill includes specialized chambers that can be filled with air or water to adjust buoyancy during diving maneuvers, allowing for precise depth control while pursuing underwater prey. Storm riding behaviors exhibited by Pelipper are not merely displays of bravado, but represent sophisticated energy conservation strategies, as these Pokemon can harness wind currents and pressure differentials to travel vast distances with minimal wing movement. Weather prediction abilities in Pelipper surpass those of many meteorological instruments, as their sensitivity to atmospheric pressure changes, allows them to detect approaching weather systems days before they become visible to human observers. The wing membranes of Pelipper contain specialized pressure-sensitive cells that can detect minute changes in air currents, enabling these Pokemon to adjust their flight patterns with such precision that they can maintain perfect stability even in the midst of violent oceanic storms. Remarkably, the pouch beneath Pelipper's bill is lined with microscopic cilia that actively filter salt and other impurities from stored food, essentially functioning as a secondary digestive system that begins processing meals before they even reach the stomach. Breeding colonies of Pelipper demonstrate complex social hierarchies where nesting sites are allocated based on intricate systems of social credit, with individuals gaining status through food sharing behaviors and cooperative nest defense rather than through aggression. The eggs of Pelipper are coated with a unique antimicrobial secretion that protects them from the harsh marine environment, containing compounds so effective that researchers have attempted to synthesize them for medical applications. Moving inland, the Ralt's evolutionary line possesses sensory organs that can detect emotional states with such precision that they can distinguish between nearly 200 distinct human emotional signatures, each triggering specific neural responses in their highly specialized brains. Kirlia's dancing isn't merely aesthetic. Each movement serves as a precise focusing mechanism for their psychic energies, with specific motions corresponding to different types of telekinetic and extrasensory effects. The molecular structure of Gardevoir's protective barrier abilities shares surprising similarities with certain crystalline formations found only in meteorites, suggesting potential extraterrestrial influences on their evolutionary development. When a Gardevoir creates a black hole-like phenomenon to protect its trainer, it's actually manipulating space-time at a quantum level, temporarily warping the fabric of reality through mechanisms that still baffle physicists. Shifting to aquatic environments, Magikarp's famously weak splash attack is far more complex than it appears, with each splash containing specific vibrational patterns that communicate with other Magikarp across considerable distances underwater, forming an intricate hydroacoustic communication network. The golden coloration of some Magikarp results from a fascinating genetic mutation affecting their scales, light refracting properties, creating nanostructures that amplify specific wavelengths of light while absorbing others. When a Magakarp evolves into Gyarados, its entire skeletal structure undergoes a radical molecular reorganization within hours, with calcium deposits being redistributed and reinforced in patterns that would cause catastrophic organ failure in most other vertebrates. The transformation also activates dormant genes that trigger the growth of entirely new organ systems, including specialized electroreceptors along Gyarados' lateral line that can detect electrical fields from over 3 miles away. Gyarados' infamous rage stems not from simple aggression, but from an extraordinary sensitivity to environmental disturbances, with their nervous systems processing thousands more sensory inputs per second than most Pokémon, making them essentially overwhelmed by their own perceptions. The red coloration of a Gyarados' fins serves as a biological warning system, with pigment cells that actually darken or brighten in response to the creature's stress hormones, providing a reliable visual indicator of its emotional state. During mating seasons, Gyarados perform elaborate underwater flight displays, using their massive bodies to create intricate hydrodynamic patterns in the water that can be read by potential mates, like three-dimensional love letters written in currents and vortices. The tremendous pressure generated by a Gyarados' hyper beam attack is made possible by specialized gas bladders that compress air to levels rivaling industrial hydraulic systems, then release it through precisely controlled channels in their mouths. In forested regions, Oddish's nightly wanderings follow patterns influenced by lunar cycles and geomagnetic fields with their root-like feet, leaving behind chemical trails that enhance soil fertility and influence the growth patterns of nearby plants. The glowing spots on Gloom's head contain bioluminescent compounds that fluctuate in intensity based on the Pokemon's nutritional status, creating a visible indicator of health that other grass-type Pokemon can interpret from remarkable distances. When Vileplume releases its spores, each microscopic particle carries a unique chemical signature that allows the Pokemon to track its spread across vast areas, essentially creating an olfactory map of wind patterns and terrain features. The enormous flower of Blossom isn't a single bloom, but rather a complex colony structure composed of thousands of tiny individual flowers that can open and close independently in response to temperature and humidity changes. The rhythmic shaking of Blossom's flowers during their dances isn't random. Each movement helps distribute pollen and essential oils in patterns that have been shown to positively influence the growth of nearby plants, effectively turning their dances into agricultural rituals that benefit entire ecosystems. This phenomenon explains why areas where Blossom gather often develop into particularly lush and biodiverse habitats, with the Pokemon essentially serving as gardeners for their environments. The sweet scent produced by these dances contains subtle variations that convey complex information to other Blossom, including mating availability, territory boundaries, and even warnings about potential threats. Researchers have identified over 80 distinct aromatic compounds in Blossom's secretions, with some varieties producing scent profiles unique to their specific geographic locations, much like regional wine varietals. Meanwhile, in rocky terrain, Geodude's floating ability relies on manipulating localized gravitational fields through innate control over certain fundamental forces, allowing them to hover despite their considerable mass. The cracks and fissures on a Geodude's surface aren't random. They follow precise geometric patterns that actually enhance the Pokemon's structural integrity, distributing stress in ways that human engineers have tried to replicate in advanced construction materials. When a Geodude evolves into Graveler, its component minerals undergo a spontaneous molecular reorganization, with silica and other compounds forming new crystalline structures that provide increased durability without sacrificing flexibility. The rolling locomotion of Graveler isn't simply tumbling. It's a highly controlled maneuver where each impact is carefully calculated to transfer minimal energy to the Pokemon's core, allowing sustained movement without damage. Golem's famous explosive self-destruction mechanism involves the rapid oxidization of internal mineral deposits, creating pressures that would shatter ordinary rock, but are contained by specialized organic membranes lining Golem's body cavity. The retreat into its shell during this process triggers a biochemical cascade that temporarily increases the shell's hardness by nearly 300%, protecting the vulnerable interior. This defense mechanism is so energy intensive that Golem typically needs several days of rest and mineral consumption to recover fully between uses. The hexagonal patterns on Golem's shell aren't merely decorative. They form an incredibly efficient impact dispersion system that channels force along predetermined pathways to minimize structural damage. In more temperate zones, the Pidgey evolutionary line demonstrates remarkable navigational abilities tied to quantum phenomena, with specialized cells in their eyes, allowing them to literally see Earth's magnetic field lines as visual patterns superimposed on their normal vision. Pidgeotto's feather patterns are uniquely adapted to reduce aerodynamic noise, with each vein featuring microscopic structures that break up turbulent airflow, making them among the quietest flyers in the avian Pokémon world. The crest feathers of Pidgeot contain hollow chambers that resonate at specific frequencies, allowing them to produce ultrasonic signals used for echolocation and long-distance communication beyond human hearing ranges. When Pidgeot engage in high-speed flight, their metabolism shifts into an extraordinary state where oxygen utilization becomes nearly 90% efficient compared to about 25% in most other flying creatures. The legendary accuracy of Pidgeot's aerial strikes stems from their ability to process visual information at nearly 300 frames per second, giving them what amounts to slow-motion perception of fast-moving targets. This visual processing occurs in a specialized region of their brains that takes up nearly 30% of their cranial volume, dwarfing comparable structures in other avian Pokémon. Their spectacular feather displays during mating rituals aren't just visual spectacles. The rapid movements create precise air vortices that carry pheromones in complex, shifting patterns that potential mates can interpret like three-dimensional messages. Even more remarkably, Pidgey can adjust individual feather positions mid-flight to alter these pheromone dispersal patterns in real time, creating dynamic chemical signals that change meaning as the display progresses. As night falls in these temperate zones, nocturnal Pokémon like Hoot Hoot emerge with their own astonishing adaptations. The concentric rings of feathers around a Hoot Hoot's eyes form a biological parabolic dish that amplifies sounds while simultaneously filtering out background noise with precision surpassing the most advanced audio equipment. This adaptation allows them to detect the heartbeat of a mouse over 150 feet away through dense foliage. Their famous internal clock isn't merely a metaphor. Hoot possess actual crystalline structures in their brains that vibrate at consistent frequencies, synchronized perfectly with Earth's rotation, regardless of light conditions or other environmental cues. When a Hoot evolves into Noctowl, these timekeeping crystals multiply and interconnect, creating what amounts to a biological atomic clock accurate to within milliseconds over a 24-hour period. Noctowl's extraordinary night vision stems not from light amplification, but from an entirely different mechanism. They can perceive the quantum fluctuations of photons that have passed through objects, essentially allowing them to see the history of light's interactions with surfaces. This gives them unparalleled ability to detect camouflaged or hidden objects even in complete darkness. The subtle movements of Noctowl's facial disc feathers aren't random. They're constantly adjusting to create minute changes in airflow that enhance their ability to locate sounds in three-dimensional space with pinpoint precision. During flight, Noctowl's wings generate turbulent air patterns that actually cancel out sound waves, creating near-perfect silence despite their considerable size, a phenomenon aerospace engineers have studied for decades without fully replicating. Each of these astonishing adaptations represents just a fraction of the incredible biological diversity found across the Pokémon world, where every species has evolved countless specialized traits perfectly suited to their ecological niches. From the quantum perception of nocturnal hunters to the gravity-defying minerals of rock-type Pokémon, nature's ingenuity manifests in endlessly surprising ways, inviting us to look deeper at even the most commonplace creatures, for they invariably conceal marvels beyond our ordinary perception. As you ponder these hidden wonders, let their quiet brilliance lull you into peaceful rest, knowing the world remains full of mysteries waiting to be discovered when morning comes. The fascinating adaptations of Pokémon extend far beyond their physical abilities. Even their metabolic processes contain wonders that defy conventional biology. Slowpoke's famously delayed reactions aren't merely behavioral quirks, but stem from an extraordinary neural architecture where electrical impulses travel at just 1/10 the speed of most Pokémon. This sluggish conduction creates a unique advantage. Their nervous system processes sensory input with such deliberation that Slowpoke can perceive time at nearly half the normal rate, allowing them to detect movements too rapid for other creatures to notice. When fishing with their tails, Slowpoke aren't reacting to the bite. They're predicting it minutes in advance based on microscopic water vibrations processed through this extraordinary temporal perception. The mechanics of evolution themselves hold countless mysteries. When a Pikachu prepares to evolve into Raichu, subtle electrical patterns begin manifesting in their fur up to 3 weeks beforehand. These intricate fractal discharges form a biological blueprint for the coming transformation. Observant researchers have noted that Pikachu in different regions develop slightly different electrical signatures before evolving, resulting in the subtle variations found in Alolan Raichu compared to their mainland counterparts. The evolutionary process similarly affects psychic types in unexpected ways. Kadabra's spoon isn't simply held, but actually grown from concentrated psychic energy, crystallized into a unique metallic alloy that amplifies their mental powers. Each spoon develops distinctive molecular patterns as unique as fingerprints, resonating perfectly with its user's brainwaves. Beneath the ocean's surface, water-type Pokémon demonstrate equally remarkable adaptations. Tentacruel's translucent body contains over 90% water by volume, yet maintains perfect structural integrity through a network of microscopic silica strands arranged in fractal patterns. Their famous stinging cells don't merely inject venom, they can selectively alter the chemical composition of their toxins mid-sting based on the target's biological signature, customizing the effect from paralytic to euphoric, depending on whether they're hunting or defending territory. Even more extraordinary are the bioluminescent patterns swirling across Jellicent's gelatinous form. These shifting lights aren't random, but actually represent a complex chemical language where each hue and pulse corresponds to specific concepts in their alien consciousness. Marine biologists have identified at least 37 distinct words in this chromatic vocabulary, though the full extent remains unknown. The plant kingdom of the Pokémon world holds similar wonders. Sunflora's heliotropic movements don't merely follow sunlight. Their cellular structures contain microscopic lenses that concentrate solar energy into stored bioelectric charges, which they can release in precise bursts to stimulate faster growth in surrounding plants. This explains why crops planted near sunflora fields consistently yield 20% more produce. The vines of Victreebel secrete not one but 7 distinct digestive enzymes, each activated by different chemical triggers in their prey. Their internal chemistry can identify a swallowed Pokemon's type within seconds and adjust their gastric fluids accordingly. Some tropical specimens have even developed specialized enzymes capable of dissolving metallic prey like magnemite, though this adaptation remains rare. Even seemingly simple Pokémon conceal extraordinary depths. The spiral pattern on Shelter's shell isn't merely decorative. It grows according to precise mathematical sequences that maximize hydrodynamic efficiency while minimizing shell weight. When a Shelter clamps onto a Slowpoke's tail to form Slowbro, their shell actually reprograms its growth pattern to complement the host's biology, developing nerve endings that fuse seamlessly with Slowpoke's nervous system. The resulting symbiotic connection is so profound that neither Pokémon can survive prolonged separation after bonding, a startling example of evolutionary interdependence. Fire-type Pokémon exhibit equally fascinating biological innovations. The flames covering Magmar's body don't burn through conventional combustion, but rather through controlled nuclear fusion at the cellular level. Their bodies contain trace elements that stabilize this process, allowing them to reach temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit without self-destruction. When a Magmar becomes agitated, these internal reactions intensify, causing their body temperature to spike dramatically, an evolutionary adaptation that turns their entire form into a thermal weapon. The blue flames of Arcanine's mane burn cleaner and hotter than normal fire due to unique organ structures that ionize surrounding air molecules, creating plasma-like effects without the need for electrical input. Legendary accounts speak of ancient Arcanine, whose flames burned so purely they left no smoke, only shimmering heat distortions in their wake. The mineral-based Pokémon possess their own inorganic marvels. Onyx's segmented rock body contains microscopic channels of pressurized water that allow individual segments to move with surprising flexibility. When threatened, they can rapidly flash vaporize this water to create explosive steam jets between their stony plates. Geodude's famous levitation stems not from psychic powers, but from specialized mineral deposits in their body that generate diamagnetic fields when exposed to air currents, a phenomenon still not fully replicated in laboratories. The crystals growing from Sablei's body are neither gemstones nor ice, but rather a unique organic mineral hybrid that grows in response to absorbed moonlight, storing trace amounts of cosmic radiation in their faceted structures. The insect Pokémon world operates on an equally astonishing scale. Butterfree's wing scales don't simply create colorful patterns. Each scale contains microscopic prisms that refract light into precise frequencies, used to communicate complex information to their swarm. Researchers have documented at least 18 distinct dialects among regional Butterfree populations. Parasect's fungal symbiosis goes far deeper than superficial control. The mushroom's mycelium has completely replaced the host's nervous system, creating a hybrid consciousness where neither component can be said to truly dominate. The largest recorded Parasect specimens show fungal tendrils extending nearly a mile through underground root networks, suggesting some colonies may function as single distributed organisms. As these countless examples demonstrate, every Pokémon, from the mightiest legendary to the most common root dweller, contains biological marvels that reward closer examination. Their abilities reflect millions of years of perfect evolutionary refinement, resulting in creatures that blur the lines between biology, physics, and something altogether more magical. These hidden wonders surround us in every corner of the Pokémon world, waiting for patient observers to discover their secrets. Let their quiet mysteries soothe your mind as you drift into rest, carried on the gentle currents of nature's endless creativity. The ocean depths hold particularly fascinating adaptations among water-type Pokémon. Cloyster's infamous inner spike can extend at speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour, propelled by hydraulic pressure chambers in its shell that build up water tension like a coiled spring. What appears to be a simple defensive mechanism actually involves precise neurological calculations. Each spike extension requires the Pokémon to account for water density, current direction, and even the Coriolis effect to maintain perfect accuracy. Meanwhile, Lanturn's bioluminescence stems not from chemical reactions like most deep-sea creatures, but from symbiotic bacteria that have evolved to feed directly on the Pokemon's electrical discharges. These microorganisms convert the energy into light with nearly 98% efficiency, creating that characteristic glow that can be visible from over 3 miles away in pitch-black waters. Dragon types conceal equally remarkable biological secrets behind their formidable appearances. The frills along a Dragonair's neck contain specialized cells that can detect minute changes in atmospheric pressure, allowing them to predict weather patterns days in advance. This same organ system generates subtle electromagnetic fields that help them navigate during migration. Researchers have tracked Dragonair crossing entire oceans without deviating more than a few hundred yards from their intended path. The metallic coatings on Dragonite's skin aren't armor at all, but rather a living alloy secreted from modified sweat glands. This substance hardens upon contact with air, yet remains flexible enough to allow full range of motion, Analysis shows it shares molecular similarities with the scales of ancient fossil Pokémon, suggesting an evolutionary link spanning millennia. Even the smallest Pokémon harbor extraordinary complexities. A single Diglett's underground network can span over 2 acres, with tunnel systems exhibiting sophisticated architectural principles, including load-bearing arches and ventilation shafts. Their famous trio of whiskers are actually hypersensitive vibration receptors capable of distinguishing between different soil types, approaching predators, and even human footsteps from startling distances. Meanwhile, Magnemite's floating units maintain perfect alignment through quantum-locked electron pairs in their metallic bodies, a phenomenon normally only observed in laboratory superconductors cooled to near absolute zero. How they achieve this at room temperature remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of Pokémon physiology. The psychic types operate on planes of existence that challenge conventional biology. Abra's much discussed sleeping habits aren't laziness, but rather a necessary metabolic state where their brain activity actually increases tenfold. This allows them to process alternate dimensional information that would overwhelm a waking mind. The spoons held by Kadabra and Alakazam aren't tools for focusing power, but rather byproducts of their psychic energy. The metal slowly accumulates from ambient particles drawn to their bioelectric fields, much like pearls forming in oysters. Some specimens have been observed with multiple spoons floating in orbit around them, suggesting these formations may represent a physical manifestation of their growing psychic mastery. Grass types demonstrate that photosynthesis is merely the beginning of their capabilities. The leaves on a Victreeble's rim contain over 200 different digestive enzymes, far more than any carnivorous plant in nature, allowing them to dissolve and absorb nearly any organic matter. Sunflora's daily tracking of the sun isn't simple phototropism, but rather a complex energy storage system where they compress solar radiation into dense packets within their seed-like cores. During cloudy days, they can release this stored sunlight in controlled bursts to maintain their metabolism. Oddish's nightly walks serve a crucial ecological purpose. Their root feet deposit specialized spores that enrich soil fertility, with some farm regions deliberately encouraging Oddish populations to naturally replenish exhausted fields. The fossil Pokémon resurrected through modern technology present their own set of biological puzzles. Aerodactyl's wing membranes contain preserved traces of prehistoric air, microscopic gas pockets that reveal the atmospheric composition of their era was significantly denser, explaining how such massive creatures could achieve flight. The horn on Kabuto's shell grows in daily layers that can be counted like tree rings, with some specimens showing growth patterns, suggesting they lived for centuries before fossilization. Omastar's spiral shell follows the golden ratio with mathematical precision. Each new chamber grows exactly 1.618 times larger than the previous one, a pattern seen in everything from galaxies to hurricanes, yet perfectly maintained by this ancient mollusk. Even common bird Pokémon conceal unexpected depths. Pidgeotto's feathers contain hollow tubes that reduce weight while maintaining structural integrity, a design later copied in human aircraft construction. Their remarkable homing instinct stems from magnetite crystals embedded in their beak tissue, creating a biological compass more accurate than any man-made instrument. Spearo's infamous temper originates from an unusually high metabolic rate. Their hearts beat nearly 500 times per minute at rest, requiring constant food intake and making them perpetually alert. The red markings on Firau's face aren't pigmentation, but rather dense clusters of blood vessels that help regulate brain temperature during high speed dives. As we consider these countless marvels, from the microscopic to the massive, from the commonplace to the legendary, we begin to understand that the Pokemon world operates on principles far more intricate than surface appearances suggest. Each creature represents millions of years of evolutionary refinement, their bodies containing solutions to problems human science is only beginning to comprehend. These quiet wonders exist all around us, in every rustling bush and bubbling stream, waiting for patient observers to appreciate their depth. Let their peaceful mysteries ease your thoughts as you drift into slumber, cradled by nature's endless creativity and the gentle rhythm of life in all its miraculous forms. The ghost types inhabit a realm where biology intersects with forces less easily quantified. The flickering flames of a Litwick's wick don't consume wax or oil, but rather ambient emotional energy. Studies show they burn brightest in locations with strong residual memories. A haunter's gaseous body can compress to fit through spaces as small as a keyhole, not through physical manipulation, but by temporarily shifting portions of its mass into another dimension. The bandages wrapping Cofagrigus aren't burial wrappings at all, but rather ectoplasmic filaments secreted to contain its own overwhelming spiritual energy. When damaged, these restraints can regenerate completely within hours. Normal types frequently surprise researchers with hidden complexities beneath their unassuming appearances. The spiral pattern on a Sentret's belly actually serves as a vibrational amplifier. When they pound their tails against the ground, the resulting seismic waves can communicate detailed information about food sources and predators across impressive distances. Furret's elongated body contains nearly twice as many vertebrae as similar mammals, allowing for fluid movement through narrow spaces while maintaining surprising muscular strength. The color variations that in a Delcatty's fur change subtly with mood and health, a trait originally bred for an ancient royalty who prized these living mood rings as status symbols. Dark types employ biological strategies that often defy conventional understanding. The feathers of a Murkrow's wings absorb rather than reflect light, giving them their characteristic shadowy appearance even in bright sunlight. This adaptation serves dual purposes: camouflage during nocturnal hunting and thermoregulation during daytime roosting. The gem on an Absol's forehead isn't decorative, but rather a complex sensory organ that detects subtle atmospheric shifts preceding natural disasters. Their famous warnings stem from literal physical discomfort caused by approaching seismic or meteorological disturbances. Sharpedo's incredible speed comes at a cost. Their skeleton contains unusually high cartilage content to reduce weight, making them vulnerable to impacts despite their fearsome reputation. Fairy types weave magic and biology together seamlessly. The powder shed by Clefable contains microscopic crystals arranged in perfect geometric patterns. When viewed under magnification, these resemble celestial constellations, regardless of the observer's location or time of day. Tochkiss's seemingly random flight patterns actually trace complex harmonic waveforms in the air, Mathematicians have identified correlations between these paths and traditional good luck symbols across multiple cultures. The ribbons on a Sylvian's body pulse with subtle bioluminescence in response to emotional states. Though invisible to most humans, other Pokemon can perceive these shifting colors as clear emotional signals. Steel types demonstrate that inorganic materials can achieve remarkable biological integration. The hexagonal plates covering a Forretress's body interlock with perfect precision. Each segment can independently rotate 180 degrees to create instant access points or form an impregnable barrier. The magnetic fields generated by a Metagross's 4 brains create interference patterns that can deflect psychic attacks, an evolutionary countermeasure against their natural predators. Bisharp's bladed edges stay perpetually sharp, not through honing, but via microscopic metal depositing organisms living in symbiotic relationship with the Pokemon. These microorganisms constantly repair and reinforce the cutting surfaces. As night deepens and consciousness gently ebbs, let these quiet revelations about the Pokemon world's hidden intricacies lull your mind into peaceful rest. Every creature, from the mightiest legendary to the humblest root dweller, contains universes of wonder within their biology, testaments to nature's boundless creativity and the slow, perfect work of evolutionary time. Their secrets whisper in the rustling leaves, murmur in the distant waves, and hum in the spaces between waking and dreams. Gentle reminders that marvels that surround us always, waiting for patient hearts to discover them. Drift now into soothing darkness, cradled by these eternal mysteries, and know that the world remains full of wonders even as you sleep. The Pokemon universe holds countless mysteries, each one a thread in the intricate tapestry of its lore. Take, for instance, the enigmatic Ghastly. Its gaseous form is not merely a random assemblage of vapors, but a carefully maintained composition of hydrogen, helium, and traces of chlorine. This precise chemical balance allows it to phase through solid matter with ease, a feat that would be impossible with any other combination of elements. Its haunting laugh, often dismissed as mere theatrics, serves a practical purpose. The vibrations produced resonate at frequencies that disrupt the concentration of psychic Pokemon, providing a natural defense mechanism. Haunter's ability to induce paralysis with a touch isn't magic, but a perfectly timed release of neuromuscular inhibitors secreted through its palms, a biological adaptation refined over millennia. Gengar, the final evolution, takes this further by incorporating ambient moonlight into its physiology. Its shadowy form absorbs lunar radiation, which it then converts into energy for its spectral abilities. Even the eerie smile plastered on its face has a purpose. It's a psychological tactic to unnerve opponents, making them more susceptible to its ghostly powers. Water types, often seen as simple aquatic creatures, possess complexities that defy expectation. The bubbles produced by a Poliwag's spiral pattern aren't just decorative, they're miniature ecosystems containing beneficial bacteria that aid in digestion. Poliwhirl's hypnotic swirl is actually a visual representation of its internal currents. The precise arrangement of its musculature allows it to generate vortices that can disorient predators or prey alike. Poliwrath's immense strength comes from a unique circulatory system that pumps oxygenated water through its body, providing sustained energy even during prolonged exertion. Lapras's harmonious songs aren't mere melodies, they're sophisticated echolocation signals that map the ocean floor with stunning accuracy. The icicles adorning its shell aren't accidents, but deliberate structures grown from specialized glands. They serve as both armor and a reservoir of fresh water for long voyages. Kingler's oversized claw isn't a random mutation. It's a highly efficient hydraulic press capable of exerting pressures equivalent to industrial machinery, yet it moves with the delicacy of a surgeon's hand when needed. Grass types, often underestimated, harbor secrets that reveal the profound interconnectedness of life. The leaves on a Bulbasaur's back aren't just photosynthetic tools, they're highly sensitive receptors that detect minute changes in soil composition, guiding it to nutrient rich areas. Ivysaur's budding flower isn't merely ornamental, it's a complex chemical factory producing pheromones that attract symbiotic insects, ensuring pollination and mutual benefit. Venusaur's towering bloom emits ultrasonic frequencies that stimulate plant growth in the surrounding area, a phenomenon known as the chlorophyll resonance effect among researchers. Oddish's nocturnal habits aren't driven by fear. Its root system absorbs moonlight energy more efficiently than sunlight, making nighttime its optimal period for photosynthesis. Blossom's rhythmic dances aren't random. They're carefully choreographed movements that release spores into the air, ensuring the propagation of its species while enchanting onlookers. Shiftry's fan-like hands aren't just for show. They generate controlled gusts that disperse seeds across vast distances, acting as a silent gardener for forests far and wide. Electric types crackle with energy in more ways than one. The static charge generated by a Pikachu isn't just a defensive mechanism, it's a finely tuned bioelectrical system that regulates its metabolism, allowing it to sustain high activity levels without fatigue. Raichu's tail isn't merely a conductor, it's a precision instrument capable of focusing electrical discharges into concentrated beams, making it a formidable opponent even at long range. Electrode's spherical shape isn't an accident. It's optimized for rolling, allowing it to build up kinetic energy that can be converted into electrical bursts upon impact. Jolteon's spiky fur isn't just for appearance. Each quill acts as a miniature antenna, amplifying its ability to detect and discharge electricity with pinpoint accuracy. Ampharos's glowing tail isn't merely a light source, it's a beacon that emits low-frequency electromagnetic waves, guiding lost Pokémon to safety across treacherous terrain. Luxray's X-ray vision isn't a myth. Its eyes contain crystalline structures that refract light in ways that allow it to perceive heat signatures and electrical currents invisible to most creatures. Fire types burn with secrets as intense as their flames. Charmander's tail flame isn't just a symbol of life, it's a bioindicator, fluctuating in intensity based on the Pokemon's health and emotional state. Charizard's fiery breath isn't merely a weapon, it's a controlled combustion process that produces thrust, enabling its powerful flight despite its size. Magmar's body temperature isn't randomly high. It's maintained by unique mitochondria that convert nutrients into thermal energy with unparalleled efficiency. Arcanine's fiery mane isn't just for intimidation, it's a heat dissipation system that prevents overheating during high-speed runs. Ninetales' multiple tails aren't just decorative. Each one acts as a focus point for its pyrokinetic abilities, allowing it to manipulate fire with surgical precision. Volcarona's radiant wings aren't merely beautiful, they're covered in microscopic scales that refract sunlight into concentrated beams, capable of igniting objects from a distance. Psychic types reveal the profound depths of mind over matter. Abra's sleep isn't laziness. It's a meditative state that allows it to project its consciousness across vast distances, scouting locations without physical movement. Kadabra's spoon isn't just a prop, it's a focus tool that amplifies its telekinetic abilities, allowing it to manipulate objects with extraordinary precision. Alakazam's mustache isn't mere facial hair, it's a sensory organ that detects psychic energy fluctuations, providing early warnings of incoming attacks. Metatite's levitation isn't magic, it's the result of a biofeedback loop that manipulates gravitational fields around its body. Gardevoir's protective instincts aren't just emotional, it can create miniature black holes to shield its trainer, a testament to the raw power of its psychic abilities. Indeed, the Pokémon world is a symphony of marvels, each note a revelation waiting to be discovered. As you drift deeper into slumber, let these truths cradle your thoughts, reminding you that even in dreams, wonder abounds. The mysteries of ghost-type Pokémon whisper from the shadows. Duskull's single glowing eye isn't just for seeing, but for absorbing ambient spiritual energy from its surroundings. Shedinja's hollow back isn't merely empty space. It's a dimensional gateway that leads directly to the spirit world, explaining why looking inside is said to steal one's soul. Gengar's mischievous grin hides a fascinating biological quirk. Its body composition constantly fluctuates between matter and antimatter, allowing it to phase through solid objects at will. Bonetta's zipper mouth isn't just unsettling, it's actually a seal restraining the immense cursed energy that builds up within its stuffed body. Mimikyu's disguise isn't just for protection. The tattered cloth actually channels its loneliness into physical form, becoming more durable the longer the Pokémon goes without companionship. Water types hold depths of untold biological adaptations. Lapras's shell isn't just armor, its hollow chambers function as natural resonance chambers, amplifying its soothing songs across vast ocean distances. Vaporeon's molecular structure isn't fixed. It can temporarily liquefy its body to slip through the narrowest gaps, then reform perfectly on the other side. Gyarados' rage isn't merely temperamental. It's a side effect of its hyperactive pituitary gland, which floods its system with combat hormones at the slightest provocation. Cloyster's spikes aren't just defensive, they're actually modified teeth that continue growing throughout its lifetime, requiring constant gnawing on coral to maintain ideal length. Kingdra's breathing isn't limited to gills. It can extract oxygen directly from water molecules through specialized cells lining its mouth. Grass types reveal photosynthesis taken to impossible extremes. Leafeon's leafy tail isn't just decorative. It contains chloroplasts that generate enough energy to sustain the Pokémon for weeks without eating. Sunflora's relationship with sunlight goes beyond nutrition. Its body acts as a living solar battery, storing radiant energy that can be released as blistering heat beams. Shiftry's fan-like hands aren't just for show. They can generate wind gusts powerful enough to scatter spores up to 5 miles away. Cradley's fossilized appearance is deceiving. Its stony exterior actually contains living cells that slowly rotate to ensure even exposure to sunlight. Tropius's neck fruit aren't just food stores, they ferment inside special pouches, creating nutritious juices that sustain infant Pokémon in the wild. Ground types demonstrate geology brought to life. Sandslash's spines aren't just armor. Each one contains microscopic grooves that channel static electricity, creating magnetic fields to repel metallic threats. Flygon's desert adaptations are extraordinary. Its multi layered eyelids contain natural sunglasses that polarize harsh sunlight, while its wing membranes vibrate at specific frequencies to locate buried water sources. Steelix's metallic body isn't static. Its outer plates constantly regenerate through a process similar to how mollusks create pearls, layering microscopic metal particles over time. The normal type facade hides extraordinary complexity. Porygon's digital nature isn't limited to cyberspace. It can temporarily convert matter into data packets, allowing it to rewrite physical obstacles. Slaking's laziness isn't a character flaw. Its metabolism operates on a 90-minute ultradian cycle, requiring long rest periods to process its immense caloric needs. Pidgeot's feather structure is aerodynamically perfect. Each barbule contains microscopic hooks that automatically adjust mid-flight to optimize airflow. Farfetched's leek isn't just a tool, it's a cultivated organ that regrows when trimmed and contains medicinal compounds the Pokémon uses to treat injuries. Dragon types embody the impossible made flesh. Altaria's cloud-like wings aren't solid. They're actually a dense matrix of specialized down feathers that can absorb and store water vapor, allowing momentary flight through rain clouds. Salamence's wing development reveals a staggering growth pattern. Its cellular structure contains latent genes that activate only after specific atmospheric pressure changes, explaining its sudden evolution from flightless Bagon. Garchomp's fin blades aren't just weapons, they vibrate at supersonic frequencies when diving, creating shockwaves that stun prey before impact. Druddigan's crude appearance belies its cunning. The jagged scales along its back act as natural heat sinks, regulating body temperature during prolonged hunts. The bug type's miniature wonders astound. Butterfree's wing scales aren't just colorful, they contain pheromone reservoirs that can be released in precise combinations to communicate complex messages across miles. Shedinja's Wonder Guard ability has a physical basis. Its hollow body creates a natural vacuum that repels all but the most perfectly aligned energy frequencies. Volcarona's relationship with fire goes beyond offense. Its larvae spin cocoons from flame-retardant silk that actually grows stronger when exposed to heat. Araquanid's water bubble isn't just for breathing. The spherical water lens magnifies sunlight into concentrated beams that can ignite dry foliage from remarkable distances. Even common Pokémon conceal biological masterpieces. Rattata's teeth never stop growing because the incisors contain stem cells that regenerate at an astonishing rate, an adaptation allowing them to gnaw through nearly any material. Meowth's coin obsession stems from an instinctual response. The metallic taste triggers dopamine release in its brain, a holdover from when its ancestors sought out mineral-rich prey. Psyduck's headaches occur when its latent psychic powers exceed its brain's capacity to regulate them. The resulting pressure manifests as both pain and uncontrolled telekinetic bursts. Machamp's four arms operate with perfect coordination because each pair connects to a separate neural cluster, effectively giving it two independent nervous systems working in tandem. Every corner of the Pokémon world hums with these hidden mechanisms, these quiet miracles of evolution. As your breathing slows and consciousness softens, let these truths settle like gentle snowfall. each fact a unique crystal in the endless storm of natural wonder that is the Pokemon universe. Rest now, knowing that even in slumber, you're surrounded by marvels beyond imagining. The ocean depths hold secrets even most researchers never glimpse. Lanturn's bioluminescence comes not from chemical reactions, but from symbiotic bacteria cultured in special organs. Each individual cultivates a unique microbial strain passed down through generations. Goribus's needle-like mouth isn't for piercing. It's an ultra-precise syringe that can inject nutrients directly into coral reefs to cultivate its own personal gardens. Wailord's immense size belies remarkable buoyancy. Its blubber contains microscopic gas pockets that automatically adjust pressure during deep dives, functioning like organic ballast tanks. Grass Pokemon photosynthesis works differently than earth plants. Their cellular structures include tiny prism arrays that can harvest energy from moonlight almost as efficiently as sunlight. Leafeon's leaf patterns aren't decorative. They're actually sophisticated moisture collectors that funnel dew directly to capillary networks beneath the fur. Shiftry's fan-like hands serve a dual purpose. By adjusting the angle slightly, they can create infrasonic vibrations that disorient prey from nearly 100 yards away. Ghost types exist in dimensional interstices most can't perceive. Bonnet's zipper mouth conceals not a void, but a pocket of compressed reality where it stores the emotions absorbed from grudges. Dusknoir's belly mouth is actually a one-way rift. Its digestive system exists partially in the spirit world, allowing it to consume intangible matter. Froslas's icy body maintains structural integrity through an extraordinary property. Its frozen particles rearrange into crystalline lattices when struck, making self-repair almost instantaneous. Even artificial Pokemon have evolved surprising quirks. Porygon Z's erratic movements stem from its codebase, incorporating fragments of unknown origin, digital junk DNA, that sometimes generates beneficial glitches. Magnezone's levitation relies on manipulating planetary magnetism at a quantum level. Each unit contains what physicists call localized gravity anomalies in its core. Klinklang's gears rotate in mathematically impossible configurations because they briefly phase through other dimensions during motion. Weather patterns bend to certain Pokemon's will in ways that defy meteorology. Castform's cellular structure doesn't just change with weather, it anticipates shifts hours in advance through undiscovered atmospheric sensors. Ludicolo's dancing isn't random. Specific movements trigger pressure changes in water molecules around it, allowing localized rain summoning without full weather-altering abilities. Vanillux's snow crystals form in perfect geometric patterns due to specialized proteins that guide molecular crystallization. The fossil record reveals lost wonders. Aerodactyl's wing membranes contain fossilized remnants of what appear to be primitive jet propulsion organs, pockets that may have once housed combustible gases. Caracosta's beak contains ceramic-like compounds not found in any living species, an evolutionary solution to crushing prehistoric shellfish with ultra-hard shells. Archon's feather structures suggest it couldn't actually fly, despite its wings. Paleontologists theorize it used them primarily for controlled gliding between cliff faces. Regional variants prove adaptation never stops. Alolan Exegutor's elongated neck serves as a living lightning rod. The crown leaves contain organic conductors that safely dissipate electrical charges during tropical storms. Galarian Weezing's smokestacks don't emit pollution. They filter airborne particles and convert them into harmless floral-scented vapors. Hisuian Zoroark's illusions aren't just visual, they emit matching scents and temperature changes through carefully controlled fur vibrations. Sleep brings its own Pokemon mysteries. Drowsy's trunk doesn't just eat dreams, it fractionally slows local time around sleeping targets to prolong feeding sessions. Musharna's dream mist solidifies into different textures based on the sleeper's mental state. Joy produces feather-light vapors, while stress creates viscous, honey-like strands. Darkrai doesn't cause nightmares. It absorbs nearby circadian rhythms, accidentally disrupting normal sleep cycles in the process. As your eyelids grow heavy, consider how Hypno's pendulum doesn't swing by muscle movement. The metal contains trace elements that weakly interact with brain waves, creating a feedback loop that matches the observer's natural rhythm. Each breath takes you deeper into the soft science of slumber, where these wonders blur together like gentle waves on a midnight shore. The Pokemon world continues its silent marvels, whether we're awake to witness them or not, each creature a testament to nature's boundless creativity. Let these thoughts carry you down into dreams, where perhaps you'll glimpse these mysteries anew in the theater of your sleeping mind, descending further now, effortlessly, completely, where facts melt into fantasies and all questions find peaceful resolution in the dark. The Pokemon world holds secrets that curl at the edges of our understanding, inviting us to wonder at their intricacies. Take Magnemite, for instance. Its magnetic field isn't merely a result of its metallic body. It generates a low-frequency hum that resonates with the Earth's own magnetic field, allowing it to hover effortlessly without expending energy. This hum is so subtle that humans rarely notice it, but it's said that Magnemite colonies can synchronize their frequencies to create a collective field strong enough to levitate small islands. Even more fascinating is the way their magnets are structured. Each one contains microscopic spirals that twist and untwist in response to electrical currents, a phenomenon scientists have labeled dynamic polarity cycling. This process not only powers Magnemite, but also allows it to repair its own structure over time, making it nearly indestructible in the wild. Then there's the curious case of Ditto, a Pokemon whose ability to transform into other creatures is as baffling as it is versatile. Recent studies suggest that Ditto's cells contain a unique protein called plasmaform, which can mimic the molecular structure of any substance it touches. This protein doesn't just rearrange Ditto's shape, it temporarily rewrites its genetic code to match its target. Remarkably, Ditto retains a faint memory of every form it's ever taken, stored in specialized organelles called mimetic nuclei. These nuclei allow Ditto to revert to previous transformations with astonishing accuracy, though the exact mechanism remains a mystery. Some researchers even speculate that Ditto's ability hints at a deeper connection between all Pokemon, a shared genetic blueprint that it taps into during transformation. In the depths of the ocean, Clamperl reveals another marvel of evolution. Its pearl isn't just a decorative gem, it's a highly efficient organic battery. The pearl absorbs trace minerals from seawater and converts them into energy, which Clamperl uses to power its bioluminescence. This process is so efficient that Clamperl's pearl can glow for years without needing replenishment. When Clamperl evolves into Huntail or Gorabis, the pearl undergoes a radical transformation, fusing with the Pokemon's body to become a specialized organ. In Huntail, it becomes a hydrokinetic pump, allowing the Pokemon to create powerful underwater currents. In Gorabis, it transforms into a light emitting organ that can project beams capable of stunning prey from a distance. On land, the enigmatic Sigilif guards ancient ruins with an eerie precision. Its eye like patterns aren't merely decorative, they function as a complex sensory array capable of detecting minute changes in air pressure, temperature, and electromagnetic fields. This allows Sigilif to navigate with pinpoint accuracy, even in complete darkness. Its wings, meanwhile, are covered in microscopic scales that vibrate at specific frequencies, enabling it to generate localized wind currents. These currents can be used for flight, defense, or even to manipulate objects from a distance. Sigilif's connection to ancient ruins isn't fully understood, but some believe it was once worshipped as a guardian deity by civilizations long lost to time. The world of plants holds its own wonders, as seen in the case of Shaman. When it transforms into its sky form, its flower petals become aerodynamic structures capable of harnessing wind currents with remarkable efficiency. These petals aren't just passive, they actively adjust their shape and angle to maximize lift, allowing Shaman to glide effortlessly across vast distances. Its fur, meanwhile, contains specialized cells that absorb sunlight and convert it into a nutrient-rich gel, which Shaman secretes to heal injured plants and Pokemon. This gel has been studied for its potential applications in medicine, though its exact composition remains elusive. Even the smallest Pokemon harbor secrets that defy expectation. Consider Joltik, a creature barely larger than a coin. Its ability to generate electricity isn't reliant on its size. It's the result of specialized glands that produce a highly conductive fluid. This fluid circulates through Joltik's body, acting as both a power source and a cooling system. Joltik's legs are covered in microscopic hairs that channel static electricity, allowing it to cling to surfaces and even walk on water. When it evolves into Galvantula, these hairs grow into conductive filaments that can be used to weave electrified webs, capable of trapping prey and deterring predators with equal effectiveness. The night sky, too, is home to Pokemon with celestial mysteries. Lunatone's crystalline body isn't just a rock, it's a living repository of lunar energy. Its surface reflects moonlight in such a way that it amplifies the light's soothing properties, making it a natural remedy for insomnia and anxiety. Solrock, its counterpart, absorbs solar energy with such efficiency that it can emit light even in complete darkness. Its internal structure resembles a miniature star, with concentric layers of plasma-like material that generate heat without consuming fuel. Together, Lunatone and Solrock are believed to influence tidal patterns and weather cycles, though the exact nature of their influence remains a subject of debate. In the realm of psychology, the Pokemon world offers insights into the mysteries of the mind. Indeedee, for example, emits a calming aura that can soothe even the most agitated emotions. This aura isn't just a psychological effect, it's the result of a biochemical process that releases pheromones capable of altering brain chemistry. Male and female Indeedee have slightly different pheromone profiles, allowing them to specialize in different forms of emotional support. Male Indeedee excels at calming aggression, while female Indeedee is particularly effective at alleviating sadness and anxiety. Their presence is often sought in therapeutic settings, where their abilities have been shown to enhance the effectiveness of traditional treatments. The interplay between Pokemon and their environments continues to reveal astonishing adaptations. Sandshrews' armored skin, for instance, isn't just a protective layer, it's a thermoregulatory system. The scales absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night, keeping Sandshrews' body temperature stable even in extreme desert conditions. When it evolves into Sandslash, these scales become more pronounced, forming razor-sharp edges that can cut through solid rock. Sandslash's claws, meanwhile, contain a unique mineral that hardens upon contact with air, making them nearly indestructible. In the icy reaches of the world, Delibird carries gifts that seem almost magical. Its tail sac isn't just a storage pouch, it's a highly efficient incubator capable of preserving food indefinitely without spoilage. The sac's lining contains enzymes that prevent bacterial growth while maintaining the nutritional value of its contents. Delibird's wings, meanwhile, are adapted for gliding rather than active flight, allowing it to conserve energy during long journeys. Its cheerful demeanor and gift-giving habits have made it a symbol of generosity in many cultures, though its true evolutionary purpose remains a mystery. The Pokemon world is a tapestry of wonders, each thread woven with care and complexity. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of the sky, every creature holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. As you drift deeper into sleep, let these mysteries envelop you, their gentle whispers carrying you to a place where questions dissolve and answers shimmer like stars in the night. The world continues its silent dance, each Pokemon a note in nature's eternal symphony, playing softly in the background of your dreams. Rest now, knowing that the marvels of this world will always be there, waiting to inspire wonder when you awaken. The silent forests hold their own share of secrets, where Pokemon like Phantump exist between realms. These tiny spirits are said to be the souls of children who became lost in the woods, their essence forever bound to the ancient trees. The hollows in their stump-like bodies aren't simply decorative. They act as resonance chambers, amplifying their ghostly cries into frequency ranges that can be heard by both the living and the dead. When a Phantump evolves into Trevenant, its connection to the forest deepens, with its roots forming neural networks that allow it to communicate with every tree within a mile radius. This network serves as an early warning system for forest fires and approaching predators, making Trevenant the guardian of woodland ecosystems. Beneath the ocean's surface, Huntail demonstrates one of nature's most ingenious adaptations. Its bioluminescent patterns aren't random, they're precise recreations of other marine Pokemon's distress signals. By mimicking these flashes, Huntail lures in would-be rescuers who become its next meal. What's more fascinating is that Huntail can adjust its light patterns in real time based on the species it detects nearby, effectively speaking the visual language of dozens of marine creatures. Its counterpart Gorobus employs a different strategy. Its elongated mouth acts like a natural pipette, creating powerful suction capable of extracting nutrients directly from seawater without needing to hunt. The industrial world has its own mysterious inhabitants, like Clink and its evolutionary line. These gear Pokemon don't actually turn. That's an optical illusion created by their constantly shifting magnetic fields. The teeth of their gears never physically interlock. Instead, they maintain perfect synchronization through electromagnetic pulses that can be detected up to 3 miles away. When they evolve into Clang, the central gear develops a superconducting core that maintains absolute zero temperature at its axis, allowing frictionless rotation. The final form, Klinklang, achieves perpetual motion by harnessing ambient electromagnetic radiation, making it one of the few Pokémon theoretically capable of infinite energy generation. The delicate wings of Butterfree carry more than just pigment. They're covered in microscopic scales that manipulate light in extraordinary ways. Each scale contains photonic crystals arranged in fractal patterns, allowing Butterfree to reflect specific wavelengths with perfect efficiency. This explains how they can create dazzling displays even in dim light conditions. Their antennae serve another surprising purpose. They're highly sensitive to quantum fluctuations, allowing Butterfree to detect changes in weather patterns days before they occur. This sensitivity extends to human emotions as well. When a Butterfree lands near someone feeling profound sadness, its wing patterns will subtly shift to brighter hues in an unconscious attempt to lift their spirits. In stark contrast, the sturdy onyx moves through stone as though it were water, but few realize it doesn't actually tunnel physically. Its body secretes a mucoprotein that temporarily reduces the friction coefficient of surrounding rock to near zero, allowing effortless movement. This same substance hardens upon contact with air, leaving behind smooth-walled tunnels that remain structurally sound for centuries. The segmented crystals along its body aren't just for show. They're piezoelectric generators that convert mechanical stress from movement into electrical energy, which Onyx stores in specialized organs to power its dig attacks. The desert-dwelling cacturn hides an eerie secret in its nocturnal habits. During daylight hours, it remains perfectly still, not just to conserve water, but because its photosynthesis process requires complete stillness. Any movement disrupts the quantum coherence of its chloroplasts. At night, its signature swaying isn't random. It's carefully synchronized with lunar gravity waves to maximize water condensation from the air. The stitches on its body aren't decorative either. They're actually moisture-sealing sutures that can open or close depending on humidity levels. Even common Pokémon like Pidgey conceal marvels in their ordinary appearance. That tuft of feathers atop its head isn't merely decorative. It's a sophisticated parabolic reflector that amplifies sounds from specific directions, granting Pidgey directional hearing far superior to most birds. Its downy underfeathers contain hollow fibers that trap an insulating layer of argon gas, maintaining body heat without adding weight. An adaptation so effective that scientists have attempted to replicate it for thermal insulation technology. When Pidgey evolves, those features become more pronounced. Pidgeotto's sharper beak contains magnetite crystals that align with Earth's magnetic field, while Pidgeot's tremendous speed is achieved through precisely angled primary feathers that reduce air resistance to nearly zero. The ghostly Duskull's single eye isn't an organic structure at all. It's a self-contained pocket dimension that observes the flow of time rather than light. This allows Duskull to perceive events seconds before they occur, explaining its uncanny ability to disappear just before being noticed. The red glow comes from Cherenkov radiation produced as temporal energies interact with our dimension. Its evolution, Dusclops takes this further. The hollow body isn't empty, but filled with compressed space-time that can store objects, or even people, in stasis indefinitely. The mysterious Unown's flat bodies shouldn't physically be able to float, yet they glide effortlessly through the air. This is because each Unown exists partially in a higher dimensional space. Their apparent two-dimensional form is merely the intersection of their true shape with our three-dimensional world. Their psychic power comes not from mental energy, but from manipulating the fundamental geometry of space itself. When multiple Unown gather, their combined presence begins folding space-time in patterns that correspond to their symbolic forms. The risen ancient civilizations used them as living alphabets. Even the humble Bidoof's teeth hold surprising secrets. They're composed of a titanium-calcium composite that continuously grows in crystalline formations, allowing them to gnaw through stone without wearing down. The dam-building instinct isn't learned, but hardwired into their genetics. A Bidoof separated from its kind since birth will still attempt to construct elaborate water barriers given the opportunity. Their tails serve as fat reservoirs that can sustain them for months, not through simple fat storage, but via an enzymatic process that slowly converts the fat into carbohydrates with 98% efficiency. As you drift deeper into sleep, remember that these wonders exist just beyond the edge of everyday awareness. A world where every detail holds layers of meaning, where evolution has crafted solutions beyond human imagination. Let these quiet marvels accompany you into dreams, where the boundaries between knowledge and wonder gently dissolve, the secrets of Pokémon continuing their eternal dance in the hidden corners of the night, where every creature, no matter how small, carries galaxies of complexity within its being. Rest now, surrounded by these gentle mysteries, safe in the knowledge that the world is far more marvelous than we ever dreamed. Let your breathing slow as the night wraps around you like a mother's embrace. Sleep and dream of endless wonders. The delicate petals of blossom hold a secret chemistry. Their vibrant colors aren't pigments at all, but microscopic prisms that bend sunlight into specific wavelengths. When they dance in the morning dew, the refracted light creates invisible patterns that stimulate growth in nearby plants, explaining why grass grows greener where blossom have trod. Their evolution from gloom represents one of nature's most dramatic transformations. The noxious compounds in their previous form undergo molecular rearrangement when exposed to a sunstone's radiation, becoming beneficial phytochemicals that heal rather than harm. The rhythmic swaying of their dance isn't merely for show. It generates precise air currents that distribute their pollen and spores with mathematical efficiency, each movement perfected over millennia. Wailord's immense size defies terrestrial biology. Its cellular structure incorporates microscopic air sacs filled with hydrogen, not for buoyancy as once thought, but as part of a sophisticated biological reactor. These sacs contain specialized bacteria that metabolize seawater into lighter-than-air gases, allowing the colossal creature to move with surprising grace. Their songs, audible for hundreds of miles underwater, aren't vocalizations in the traditional sense. They're created by rhythmic contractions of internal chambers that resonate through their entire body, with different segments acting like organic pipe organs. The patterns in their skin aren't merely pigmentation, they're actually colonies of bioluminescent plankton that have evolved to live in symbiotic harmony with the gentle giants, creating shifting constellations across their backs as they breach the ocean's surface. The unassuming Kecleon's color changing ability goes far beyond simple camouflage. Its skin contains photoreactive cells that can alter not just color, but texture and even thermal signature. Microscopic sacs of liquid crystal expand and contract in fractal patterns, allowing perfect mimicry of everything from tree bark to flowing water. Its invisible state isn't true transparency. Rather, it's bending light around its body using precisely arranged protein fibers that function like organic metamaterials. The stripe on its belly serves as a quantum compass. Embedded magnetite crystals align with Earth's magnetic field while simultaneously responding to subtle fluctuations in the fabric of spacetime, guiding Kecleon to locations where dimensional boundaries are thinnest. This explains their uncanny ability to appear and disappear at will. They're not merely hiding, but briefly stepping between dimensions. Even the simple Rattata's whiskers hold astonishing complexity. Each one contains over 10,000 nerve endings connected to a specialized region of the brain that processes spatial information. They don't just feel objects, they construct detailed three-dimensional maps of their surroundings through air current analysis, allowing perfect navigation in complete darkness. Their teeth grow in a helical pattern, the enamel forming in microscopic layers that create self-sharpening edges. The purple coloration isn't arbitrary. It comes from trace amounts of manganese and iron in their fur that provide natural protection against psychic interference, explaining why Rattata can thrive even in areas with high concentrations of psychic type energy. Their tails function as precision thermoregulators. Blood vessels constrict and expand in fractal patterns to maintain perfect body temperature regardless of external conditions. The crystalline structure of Sablei's eyes allows them to see far into the infrared spectrum, not for hunting, but to detect the thermal signatures of gemstone deposits deep underground. Their claws secrete an acidic compound that dissolves rock with surgical precision, yet leaves organic material untouched, a biological adaptation that prevents injury when digging through soil toward mineral veins. The gems they consume don't pass through their digestive system. Instead, they're absorbed directly into their cellular structure, where the minerals are reconfigured into a unique crystalline matrix that strengthens their bones and claws. This process gives their bodies that distinctive gem-like sheen. What appears to be their skin is actually a constantly regenerating mineral coating that grows in geometric patterns dictated by quantum interactions at the atomic level. Magcargo's molten shell maintains its heat through a biological nuclear process, not fission or fusion, but quantum tunneling reactions occurring in specialized organelles that convert trace radioactive elements into thermal energy with perfect efficiency. The shell's composition varies based on environment. Individuals near water develop more silica for insulation, while mountain-dwelling Magcargo incorporate metallic elements that create beautiful iridescent patterns as they flow. Their movement appears slow, but this is an illusion caused by their heat distortion. They can actually move with surprising speed when threatened, leaving behind temporary glass trails as their passage melts sand into smooth ribbons. The steam they emit isn't just water vapor, It contains complex pheromones that create intricate weather patterns, allowing distant Magcargo to communicate through subtle shifts in atmospheric pressure. The spiral pattern on Shelter's shell isn't random. It follows the Fibonacci sequence with atomic precision, a growth pattern that maximizes structural integrity while minimizing weight. When it evolves into cloister, the shell doesn't grow. It unfolds along hidden fault lines that were present since birth, revealing layers that had been tightly compressed in a higher dimensional configuration. The spikes aren't solid. They're hollow tubes containing a biological superfluid that hardens instantly upon impact, allowing them to withstand pressures that would shatter steel. Their pearls aren't irritants coated in nacre. They're specialized organs that filter seawater for rare minerals, growing in perfect spheres due to surface tension effects at the molecular level. When a shelter bites a slowpoke's tail, the exchange goes both ways. Slowpoke's regenerative hormones trigger explosive growth in the shelter, while the shelter's neuropeptides enhance Slowpoke's psychic potential, a symbiotic relationship so ancient it's encoded in both species' DNA. The hexagonal cells of Combi's honeycomb aren't wax. They're secreted proteins that rearrange their molecular structure based on temperature, becoming stronger when heated and more flexible when cooled. The honey they produce varies dramatically based on the flowers they visit. Some strains exhibit psychotropic properties when consumed by humans, while others can accelerate wound healing or even temporarily enhance cognitive function. The precise ratio of queen bees to workers isn't determined by chance. Developing larvae emit subtle pheromone signals that influence their sisters' development, creating perfect population balance without centralized control. When a Vespican gives orders, she doesn't use sound. Vibrations travel through the comb's structure at quantum coherent frequencies, allowing instantaneous communication across the entire hive regardless of distance. Drifloon's buoyancy comes not from helium, as commonly believed, but from vacuum-filled sacs lined with graphene-like fibers, stronger than diamond. The sacs maintain their perfect vacuum through active biological processes that remove even individual gas molecules, a feat human technology still can't replicate at that scale. Their strings aren't physical appendages. They're self-contained space-time anomalies that appear solid to our senses, but actually exist partially in another dimension. This explains why children report feeling pulled toward the sky when holding them. It's not physical force, but a slight warping of gravity in the string's immediate vicinity. The smiling face isn't a fixed expression. It's formed by carefully arranged bioluminescent bacteria that respond to Drifloon's emotional state, glowing brighter when the Pokémon feels content. The metallic coating on Forretress's shell isn't iron or steel. It's a living alloy secreted by specialized glands, incorporating titanium, vanadium, and trace elements in proportions that vary based on environmental needs. When threatened, it doesn't just explode. It undergoes precisely controlled exothermic reactions that propel shrapnel in mathematically perfect patterns, ensuring maximum defensive coverage while minimizing self-injury. The spikes aren't randomly placed. Their arrangement follows the same geometric principles as medieval armor, deflecting attacks through careful angling rather than pure hardness. Inside its shell, Forretress maintains a miniature ecosystem of symbiotic bacteria that continuously repair and reinforce the metallic structure, processing minerals from its diet into ever stronger alloys. As consciousness gently fades, let these hidden wonders settle in your mind like softly falling snow, each fact a unique crystal in the vast fractal of Pokemon biology. The world is deeper than we know, more intricate than we imagine, filled with quiet marvels that unfold their secrets only to those who look closely. Rest now, wrapped in the gentle certainty that mysteries abound, that every creature, from the mightiest legendary to the humblest caterpies, carries within it eons of evolutionary wisdom. Sleep, and let your drums wander through those hidden corridors of creation, where science and wonder dance together in endless harmony, where every new discovery reveals yet deeper layers of beauty, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary when viewed through the lens of patient observation. Drift deeper and deeper into the peaceful embrace of nature's endless creativity, where even in darkness, the world thrums with quiet miracles waiting to be understood. Sleep and know that wonder never ends, only pauses as you rest. The shimmering scales of Melodic aren't just for beauty. They're a complex network of microscopic prisms that refract light in ways no human-designed material can replicate. When sunlight hits these scales, they don't merely scatter light. They organize it into patterns that soothe the mind and calm aggressive instincts. This isn't just a coincidence. It's an evolutionary adaptation that allows Melodic to pacify predators and allies alike, creating an aura of serenity that radiates outward like ripples on a still pond. The iridescent hues shift subtly based on Melodic's emotional state, with deeper blues emerging during moments of contentment and soft pinks appearing when it feels playful. Even the way it moves through water, its sinuous, flowing motions, creates currents that carry pheromones capable of easing tension in nearby Pokémon. Scientists studying these effects have likened Melodic's presence to a living embodiment of tranquility, a creature whose very existence seems designed to harmonize its environment. Delibird's tail, often mistaken for a simple sac, is actually a highly specialized organ capable of regulating temperature with astonishing precision. The red and white pattern isn't just decorative, it's a visual cue that helps other Pokémon recognize Delibird's intentions, signaling whether it's carrying food or gifts. Inside the sac, a network of bioluminescent cells generates soft light, allowing Delibird to navigate dark environments while delivering its packages. The items it carries aren't just stored randomly. Delibird arranges them in a specific order based on their nutritional value and freshness, using its keen sense of smell to detect spoilage before it becomes a problem. When it throws gifts, it doesn't rely on brute force. Instead, it uses subtle muscle contractions to create a gentle arc, ensuring the item lands exactly where intended. This precision extends to its flight patterns, which are calculated to conserve energy while maximizing efficiency, making Delibird one of the most resourceful Pokémon in cold climates. Its cheerful demeanor isn't merely a personality trait, it's a survival strategy, fostering goodwill among other Pokémon and ensuring its safety in harsh environments. The crystalline structure of Cryogonal's body isn't static, it's in a constant state of flux, with molecules rearranging themselves to adapt to changing temperatures and humidity levels. This allows Cryogonal to maintain its integrity even in extreme conditions, from scorching deserts to icy tundras. The snowflakes it generates aren't random. They're carefully designed to maximize surface area, enabling them to absorb heat more efficiently and cool the surrounding environment. Cryogonal doesn't just float, it manipulates air currents with microscopic precision, creating vortices that propel it forward without expending energy. Its ability to freeze water molecules isn't limited to its immediate surroundings. It can project a focused beam of cold air that freezes targets at a distance, a feat that scientists still struggle to replicate in laboratory settings. The hexagonal patterns on its surface aren't just decorative, they're structural reinforcements that distribute stress evenly, preventing cracks and fractures even under immense pressure. Cryogonal's movements are hypnotic, a slow, deliberate dance that belies the complexity of its internal processes, making it a living testament to the elegance of natural design. The aroma of Shaman's Gracidia flowers isn't just pleasant, it's a sophisticated chemical signal that communicates with other shaman across vast distances. Each flower emits a unique combination of volatiles that convey information about its health, location, and emotional state. When Shaman transforms into its sky form, the petals don't just grow, they undergo a molecular reorganization that enhances their aerodynamic properties, allowing Shaman to glide effortlessly on even the slightest breeze. The green fur on its back isn't just for insulation, it contains photosynthetic cells that convert sunlight into energy, supplementing Shaman's diet and enabling it to thrive in nutrient poor environments. The transformation process isn't instantaneous. It's a carefully orchestrated sequence of biochemical reactions that ensures Shaman's body remains stable throughout the change. Even its ability to purify polluted air isn't a simple filter. It involves complex enzymatic pathways that break down toxins into harmless compounds, which Shaman then recycles into nutrients for its flowers. The result is a Pokémon that embodies the resilience and adaptability of nature itself, a living reminder that even in the face of adversity, beauty can flourish. The flames on Typhlosion's back aren't just a display of power, they're a finely tuned mechanism for regulating its body temperature. When Typhlosion is at rest, the flames burn low and steady, conserving energy while maintaining optimal warmth. In battle, they flare up dramatically, not just to intimidate opponents, but to increase Typhlosion's metabolism and enhance its speed and reflexes. The heat generated by these flames isn't wasted. Typhlosion's fur absorbs and redistributes it, ensuring that no energy is lost in the process. Even the way it moves, its rapid, explosive bursts of speed, is carefully calculated to maximize efficiency, with each step generating additional heat that fuels its next move. The trembling ground beneath its feet isn't just a side effect, it's a deliberate tactic, using seismic vibrations to disorient opponents and create openings for attack. Typhlosion's roar isn't merely loud, it's pitched at a frequency that resonates with the flames on its back, amplifying their intensity and creating a feedback loop that sustains their energy. This intricate interplay of fire, sound, and motion makes Typhlosion a master of thermal dynamics, a Pokémon whose every action is a testament to the power of controlled energy. The sand that Palossals collects isn't just a building material, it's a carefully curated mix of minerals that enhance its structural integrity and provide camouflage. Each grain is coated with a thin layer of organic compounds secreted by Palossal's body, creating a bond stronger than cement when compressed. The tiny Pokemon inside aren't just passengers, they play an active role in maintaining the fortress, using their abilities to reinforce weak spots and repel intruders. The openings in Palossal's walls aren't random, they're strategically placed to maximize airflow and regulate temperature, creating a comfortable environment for its inhabitants. Even the way it moves, slowly and deliberately, is a calculated strategy, minimizing vibrations that could alert predators to its presence. The sandcastle like appearance isn't just for aesthetics, it's a form of mimicry that confuses potential threats, making them hesitate before attacking. This combination of strength, strategy, and subtlety makes Palossals a formidable protector, a Pokemon that embodies the ingenuity of nature's architects. The shadows cast by Lunala's wings aren't just a play of light, they're extensions of its power, capable of absorbing energy and weakening opponents. When Lunala enters its full moon phase, the patterns on its wings shift into a configuration that amplifies its psychic abilities, allowing it to manipulate space-time itself. The light it emits isn't just visible, it includes wavelengths beyond the human spectrum, carrying information that only certain Pokemon can perceive. Lunala's flight isn't bound by conventional physics. It uses gravitational anomalies to propel itself, creating ripples in space-time that can be detected by sensitive instruments. Its ability to traverse dimensions isn't a random power. It's a carefully controlled process that requires precise coordination of its psychic and physical energies. The crescent shape of its wings isn't just decorative, it's a focusing mechanism that channels its power into coherent beams, allowing Lunala to attack or heal with pinpoint accuracy. This combination of elegance and precision makes Lunala a master of cosmic forces, a Pokemon that bridges the gap between the material and the ethereal. The ink that Octillery sprays isn't just a smokescreen, it's a complex mixture of chemicals that disrupts the senses and confuses predators. Each droplet contains microscopic capsules that release their contents at different rates, creating a multi-layered effect that can disorient even the most determined pursuers. The suction cups on its tentacles aren't just for gripping, they're sensory organs that detect changes in water pressure, allowing Octillery to navigate and hunt in complete darkness. Its ability to change color isn't just for camouflage, it's a form of communication with specific patterns conveying different messages to other Octillery. The spiral shell it carries isn't just a remnant of its past, it's a tool for regulating buoyancy, allowing Octillery to ascend or descend with minimal effort. Even its ability to spit water isn't a simple act. It involves precise control of muscle contractions and water pressure, enabling Octillery to hit targets with remarkable accuracy. This combination of adaptability and ingenuity makes Octillery a master of its aquatic domain, a Pokemon that thrives through intelligence rather than brute force. The vines that Tangrowth extends aren't just appendages, they're semi-autonomous extensions of its nervous system, capable of acting independently while remaining connected to the central body. Each vine contains specialized cells that can photosynthesize, absorb nutrients, and even detect vibrations in the air, making Tangrowth highly attuned to its environment. The way it moves, slowly and deliberately, isn't just a result of its size, it's a strategy for conserving energy and avoiding detection. Tangrowth's ability to regenerate lost vines isn't a passive process. It involves complex biochemical pathways that accelerate cell division and tissue repair, allowing it to recover from injuries quickly. The moss that grows on its body isn't just a coincidence, it's a symbiotic relationship, with the moss providing additional camouflage, while tan growth offers protection and nutrients. Even its ability to ensnare opponents isn't a simple act. It involves careful coordination of its vines, ensuring that each movement maximizes effectiveness while minimizing energy expenditure. This combination of resilience and resourcefulness makes Tangrowth a master of adaptation, a Pokemon that thrives in even the harshest environments. The dewdrops on Leafon's ears aren't just moisture, they're part of a sophisticated system for regulating hydration and temperature. Each droplet contains trace amounts of enzymes that break down pollutants, allowing Leafeon to purify water before consuming it. The leaf-like appendages on its body aren't just decorative, they're photosynthetic organs that generate energy from sunlight, supplementing Leafeon's diet and reducing its need for food. Its fur isn't just soft, it's structured to trap moisture and release it slowly, creating a microenvironment that sustains Leafeon during dry periods. Even its ability to blend into foliage isn't just camouflage, it's a form of mimicry that confuses predators and allows Leafeon to approach prey undetected. The way it moves, graceful and silent, isn't just a result of its physical build, it's a carefully honed skill, allowing Leafeon to navigate dense forests without disturbing the environment. This combination of elegance and efficiency makes Leafeon a master of its habitat, a Pokemon that embodies the harmony of nature. As sleep deepens, let these marvels of Pokemon biology weave through your thoughts, their intricate designs a testament to the boundless creativity of evolution. Each creature, from the smallest to the most majestic, carries within it countless secrets waiting to be discovered. Rest now, knowing that the world is filled with wonders beyond measure, and that every new day brings the possibility of uncovering another hidden truth. Drift deeper, deeper into the peaceful embrace of nature's endless mysteries, where even in stillness, the pulse of life continues, quiet and steady. A reminder that wonder is always close at hand. Sleep, and let your dreams wander through these hidden realms, where science and magic intertwine, where every creature tells a story, and where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. In the gentle rhythm of creation, sleep, and know that the world is more marvelous than you can imagine. Rest, and let the quiet miracles of Pokemon lore carry you into peaceful slumber.